bat-like wings.
Have bat-like wings, right? So, yeah, just think devil, little leathery devil. Take away the pitchfork, right?
Yes, very accurate name.
So actually, the Jersey Devil also has a little claim to fame as well. The legend of the Jersey Devil actually is older than Loch Ness Monster and older than a lot of them. The Jersey Devil first lore started around 1735, back in the 18th century.
Mm-hmm.
And the original story for them is that there was this lady, her name was Leeds. Her last name was Leeds. I can't remember. Jane Leeds on my notes. Her name was Jane Leeds, right?
Yep.
AKA Mama Leeds, and she supposedly had 12 children and got pregnant for a 13th time. And because of the pregnancy, the urban legend goes, she was so upset she cursed the kid, saying that the kid was of the devil. And so that when the night the kid was born, big storm rolled up, shook the house, baby was born. But immediately the baby came out, so they transformed, turned into what we just described, except a little mini version. They tried to kill it or catch it, scooted up the chimney and took off. And henceforth, the Jersey Devil was created. Steve, I know I gave that the Cliff Notes, but I leave anything out there?
No, that sounds about right. But yeah, and this was, like you said, this was of the Leeds family. Her name, she's known as Mother Leeds. And typically, so at the time, Leeds, Leeds, was a common name down in South. That was like a communal name down there. So even the town was called Leeds Point. So it's kind of
I didn't know that
was, and I'm not sure if you're aware too, but the name, the Jersey Devil, is actually relatively newer. That didn't come about until about the early 1900s. At the point, up until then, it was known as the Leeds Devil. So,
okay,
yeah.
Look at Steve. Check out the big brain on Steve, y'all. Huh? Told you so. Right? Graduated fifth grade. Graduated fifth grade. Right. I actually want to say too, man, that 1735. I know when I first stumbled across the Dogman story, I want to say that around that time, the late 1700s, it might even be older than that, out of Michigan was the first Dogman sighting on it. But for you people who watch our show, you know I bring the receipts on this all the time. And throughout history, there have been several sightings of this creature. One of the more famous ones was a guy named Joseph Bonaparte. Steve, do you know who he is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, hit him, Steve. Joseph Bonaparte. Who is it?
Joseph Bonaparte was the older brother of Napoleon Bonaparte, who we from across the pond over in Europe. There.
So yeah, we're gonna pause that right there for a second.
Yes.
You can't make that up. You cannot make that up, man. That Napoleon Bonaparte's older brother just one day was in New Jersey. Well, it wasn't New Jersey at the time, so.
Well, actually, I was also just re-skimming through things recently, and I found this very interesting. So what happened was, yes, Joseph Bonaparte was the older brother of Napoleon Bonaparte, and he was actually, I didn't know this, he was also formerly the King of Spain. So he's a pretty big deal.
I didn't know that either. Okay.
Yeah, but once Napoleon kind of fell and that was it, Joseph was like, all right, I got to get the hell out of here. And he made the smartest decision he ever made, and he moved to New Jersey. So that was it. So he had this huge estate down in southern Jersey, right across the Delaware from Philadelphia. And so it was in a town called Bordentown. He had a huge 800-acre estate there in Bordentown. So
that's insane to me. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? That's maybe I've been sleeping on New Jersey. I mean, for the history, I need to look into it. What happened to y'all, man? Where'd it go wrong? just joking. Just joking. A little bit. Probably serious. But anyway, so look. I'm sorry, I'm cracking myself up, Steve.
You want me to continue the story? You all right over there?
Please do. What?
All right, while Joe's clearing himself over there, so Joseph Bonaparte, while he was living over here in New Jersey, in the greatest area in the world, he was out one day, it was a snowy day, and he was out hunting on his estate. And as he was going through the snow, he saw these tracks in the snow, and he thought this was bizarre because he saw it looked like what he explained to be like what it would have come from a two-legged donkey, right? And I got to say, I have seen some of those around here in New Jersey, but I don't think it was the same kind of two-legged donkey.
Hold on. Two-legged donkeys. I got the joke. Go ahead.
So he saw this creature and he followed, or he saw the footsteps. So he followed the tracks for a while, and eventually they just stopped. And he was very confused. How could these tracks just stop? And either this creature disappeared or it flew off. And supposedly he claims that after he reached the end of the tracks, he heard a hissing sound, right? And he turned around and there it was, right in his face, and it batted its wings and it flew off. Man. So, and I was thinking that, and I was reading about that, and I think, and I don't mean this as any disrespect to anyone here watching, but I'm pretty skeptical when it comes to things like this, right? I like to have a little bit more, not just a story, there's got to be some credibility to it. If you have someone, Napoleon's brother, right, the former king of Spain, you're not going to come out with this story and try and tarnish your reputation if it's not real, right? So to me, that adds that little bit of credibility, or at least plausibility, that you never know.
I gotta tell you, Steve, you really that thread. You really know that thread, because one thing that I noticed in the UFO, UAP, cryptid, weird verse is that a lot of people try to get a lot of people, when they get in front of the camera and they start talking, they have to have an answer for every question, right? We don't do that here. If I don't know, I'm like, man, I don't know, right? So they have to have a question to say. For example, Billy Carson. I don't know if you knew who this guy is, man. He's probably a really nice guy, but he's talks about these Sumerian tablets all the time, and he goes in really different directions, and he always has to have like an answer saying, no, instead of saying it, this guy would not need to make this story up. Right, he wouldn't have this. There's like, my brother was Napoleon. I was the king of Spain. I don't need this street cred. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's what gives me like, damn, okay, wow, all right. So he saw, and again too, we get a lot of comments here where people like immediately will attack something that somebody says, and I try to say, hey, look, man, can we just agree that they saw something? And if they say, okay, yeah, he probably saw something. But some people are going to be like, no, it's a lie. Never saw anything. Then, I just can't deal with you, man. Like, he saw something that made him go back and say, hey, look, man, I don't know what that was, but I saw a devil outside my outside my thing, right? And so you have to be able to at least give somebody. And I've learned too through life that when people come across like unexplained situations, for example, we all would like to say, like, man, I tell you what, if I was on that hunting trip and with my uncle and that Jersey Devil was beside my window, he's taking 2 rounds to the chest, right? Mm-hmm. When really you're like, drive the truck. You're just throwing the gun out the window, right?
That's right.
Pushing kids over, trying to get it's easy to armchair it, man.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.